Discover the hidden truths and mysteries lurking behind the scenes as we unveil 10 secrets the government doesn't want you to know. Number 10. The true extent of UFO sightings and encounters. The true extent of UFO sightings and encounters remains a subject of great interest and intrigue. For many years, governments, particularly the United States, have steadfastly denied the existence of unidentified flying objects, dismissing them as mere products of human imagination or natural phenomena. However, the landscape surrounding UFOs has been shifting. In 2021, the United States Department of Defense released an official report on UFOs, which marked a significant departure from their historical stance. The report acknowledged that numerous credible and documented sightings of UFOs defy conventional explanations, raising questions about the possibility of extraterrestrial or unknown terrestrial origins. Number 9. The existence of secret government programs. The existence of secret government programs has long been a subject of intrigue and concern for the public. These classified programs, shielded from public scrutiny and oversight, encompass a wide range of activities. On one hand, they often involve critical aspects of national security, such as military research and development, which are shrouded in secrecy to protect strategic advantages and sensitive technology. On the other hand, they can extend to surveillance programs that raise questions about individual privacy and civil liberties. While the need for secrecy in some cases is clear, it also gives rise to the potential for abuse of power and lack of transparency. Striking a balance between national security and the public's right to know remains an ongoing challenge, and the debate surrounding these secret government programs underscores the tension between government accountability and safeguarding the nation's interests. Number 8. The true cost of wars. The true cost of wars is a multifaceted and often underestimated aspect of armed conflicts. Beyond the immediate financial expenditures, wars exact a tremendous toll on human life and national resources. The Iraq War serves as a poignant example, with estimates suggesting that its true cost runs into trillions of dollars. These expenses encompass not only the direct cost of military operations, but also long-term consequences like veterans' care, interest on borrowed funds, and the economic ripple effects. Equally, the human cost is staggering, with hundreds of thousands of lives lost and countless more irrevocably changed by physical and psychological injuries. In addition, wars can have profound social, political, and environmental impacts that extend far beyond their official timelines. Number 7. The environmental impact of government activities. The government, as a major polluter, often falls short of taking sufficient responsibility for its environmental impact, and this negligence is nowhere more evident than in its response to climate change. Climate change stands as one of the most pressing threats to the planet, and governments worldwide have a pivotal role in mitigating its effects. Unfortunately, many governments have been slow to adopt comprehensive policies and enact meaningful legislation to combat this crisis. This delay, in part, can be attributed to political complexities, economic interests, and a lack of unified global cooperation. The consequences of this inaction are far-reaching, with rising global temperatures, extreme weather events, and the endangerment of ecosystems and species. Number 6. The surveillance of its own citizens. The surveillance of its own citizens by a government has emerged as a major threat to the planet in recent years. Governments around the world have been collecting a vast amount of data on their citizens, often without their knowledge or consent, in the name of national security and law enforcement. While the need for maintaining national security is undeniable, there are growing concerns about the potential for abuse and the erosion of individual privacy. One of the most pressing issues is the lack of transparency and oversight in many surveillance programs. When governments operate in secrecy and without proper checks and balances, it creates a breeding ground for potential misuse of collected data. This data can be harnessed for various purposes beyond the originally intended ones, such as monitoring political dissidents, stifling free speech, or engaging in mass surveillance without a clear threat to national security. Number 5. The use of torture and other cruel and unusual punishment. The use of torture and other cruel and unusual punishment is a deeply troubling issue that has garnered significant attention and criticism, both within the United States and internationally. Allegations of such practices have been leveled against the U.S. government by various parties, including prominent human rights organizations, investigative journalists, and even former government officials. These accusations range from inhumane treatment of detainees held in U.S. detention facilities to controversial practices employed during overseas operations, particularly in the context of counterterrorism efforts. The use of torture and cruel punishment not only raises serious ethical and moral questions, but also poses potential legal challenges, as it may contravene both domestic and international laws and treaties, such as the United Nations Convention Against Torture. Number 4. The dangers of nuclear weapons. The dangers associated with nuclear weapons are profound and far-reaching, casting a shadow of uncertainty over the future of humanity. The continued development and stockpiling of these weapons by governments around the world raise serious concerns. First and foremost, the specter of accidental nuclear war looms large. Even with strict protocols in place, the potential for a catastrophic misjudgment or technical malfunction cannot be discounted, and such an event could lead to devastating consequences for both the aggressor and the victim. Furthermore, there is an ever-present fear of nuclear weapons falling into the wrong hands. The possibility of terrorists acquiring or attempting to use nuclear weapons is a constant source of anxiety. Number 3. The true extent of climate change. The issue of climate change is a critical global concern, and there is a widespread acknowledgement that it poses significant dangers to our planet and future generations. However, it is evident that governments, including the one in question, have been slow to implement comprehensive and effective measures to address this pressing problem. One of the most glaring shortcomings is the inadequate action taken to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which are the primary drivers of global warming. Despite the overwhelming scientific consensus on the need for urgent action, many governments have failed to implement robust policies and regulations to significantly curb emissions from various sectors, including energy, transportation, and industrial activities. Number 2. The true extent of inequality in the United States. The United States is experiencing a concerning trend of widening income inequality, with a growing gap between the rich and the poor. This issue has become increasingly prominent, yet the government has been accused of downplaying its severity. Evidence of this can be seen in policies and budget decisions that appear to disproportionately favor the wealthy, while cutting programs aimed at assisting the poor and the middle class. Such actions include reductions in social safety net programs, tax cuts that disproportionately benefit the wealthy, and deregulation that may exacerbate economic disparities. These policies not only fail to address the root causes of income inequality, but can actually exacerbate the problem. Number 1. The corporate influence on government policy. Critics often argue that government decisions are frequently swayed by corporate interests, resulting in policies that prioritize the financial gains of corporations over the well-being of the general public. One such contentious issue is the accusation that governments provide tax breaks and incentives to corporations that offshore jobs. Unearthed secrets that challenge the status quo, leaving you to question the world around you. Now it's up to you to seek the truth and make your voice heard. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more engaging content like this.